Okay, Coach. Quick turnaround before we take a look here to Vandy. Is it important for your team to have a short memory after last night's game?
Yeah, and they do have. I think they've proven that, ability to bounce back. We've used the word self-aware and resilience an awful lot, and I think that's not something you lose. I think we showed it last night. We had a terrible first half and a great second half. So not only do I think they can do it today, I think they did it last night. Bounce back, had a really good effort. We should make shots in the first half. Got better shots, so we made more shots. And then when we make shots, we defend a little bit better, and all that stuff goes down. But, I think we have every right in the world to expect a resilient effort in practice today and game on Sunday.
What does Vanderbilt bring at you? Obviously, it played a pretty good game against A&M. Well,
they've got a short roster, so the kids play with a lot of confidence that I'm not coming out of the game. And it's a neat thing as a player. And I think that gives you a lot of confidence to play. Their roles are very clearly identified. There's not a lot of looking over your shoulders. And that creates a comfort level. Now, it creates a burden at the same time, but that's always a challenge. This is a group that does exactly what they know they can do. They play to their strengths. They're not going to beat themselves. You have to beat them. And for us, anytime their top scorers are their post players, that's a concern. They get 27 a night from their post players, and they throw it in there a whole lot. So that is always a concern to a team like us that plays four guards.
Is this roughly the same team you saw, twice at the end of the year last year?
I don't think so, no, because of the kids that left their program and graduated. But similar attack, obviously same style, but you got different parts doing it. They're setting it 0-3. I think they're going to come in here with a real sense of urgency. I think they, like we, look around at where you're selected in the preseason polls, and there's somebody that's close to us. So although it won't receive national attention as being a big marquee game, man, for us it's as big as it gets.
Yeah, that's something we talked about a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
These games that I guess the way you put it, you're grouped together somewhere at the bottom. So it's games. They're pretty large for both teams, right?
Massive. Yeah, and we reiterate that to our players, everybody that'll listen, that for us and for Vanderbilt, this is as big as Mississippi State versus Georgia was last night. Now, it's not going to be on the ESPN ticker, and it's not going to, but in our worlds, which is all that matters to us and to Vanderbilt, this is as big as it gets, because it's a game they look at and go, somebody grouped around us, somebody that we split with last year, opportunity. And I think you've got to approach it like that. If you don't look at that in our league, you can get frustrated, you can get demoralized, you can get whatever adjective you want to use real quick, real fast, if you allow that to creep in.
Mike, since they only play 6 players and they really try and slow it down, is it harder when you get to conference play for an up-tempo team to make a slower team speed up, or how does that tempo work with that?
It is harder, but you can do it. And we do have to just continue to do what we do offensively. We can speed the tempo up defensively. We'll work on that today a little bit. But I'm okay with how they play. If they want to go deep into the shot clock, that's fine, as long as it leads to a defensive rebound, which is an area that we've got to have vast improvement. Even last night, on a night when we didn't shoot it well, if we could have defensive rebounded a little bit, we would have been in that game. Chance to cut it to single digits late in the third period. We miss a box out. The ball goes their way, and they kick it out to an All-American, and she makes 3. We get another rebound. The kid rips it out of our hands, lays it in, and we foul her. Another 3. So defensive rebounding is the number one area that we'd like to see improvement in. I know we're not going to be good at it. I understand. That's why I don't lose my mind on it. We play 4 guards. We're going to be deficient in defensive rebounding. But what I always look at is, are we attempting more shots? Because normally more rebounds means the other team gets more shots. Well, that's not always the case against us, because we're not going to turn it over as a result of playing 4 guards. So, I don't know, Jerry, you probably have the box score close by, but I think we shot more times than they did last night. Is that right? Did we get more field goal attempts than they? 10 more. Yeah. So, again, even though we got out-rebounded by a massive number, I think it was 32-10 at first half, if I remember looking at it right. As long as we're getting quality shots and enough of them by not turning it over, then you can offset that rebounding. But in games against teams like Missouri, if you don't defensive rebound it, they might shoot till they make it.
You had 14 points in the first half and 23 in the fourth quarter. Was it just a matter of shots going down? Did you find better shots? Was there a little better flow?
Yeah, both of those things. We got easier shots, which you're going to make more of. And it gets harder and harder to make a shot when you've missed your first 3 or 4 or 5. They started really loading the paint up, forcing us. I thought we turned down some shots. They saw it on film. We were open. We weren't shooting it when we first caught it. Maybe over-dribbled a little bit last night. But, yeah, it was a factor of that. But, yeah, to score more points I think we scored more points in the third quarter than we did in the first half. It was close. Yeah.
Your girls only shot 7 free throws last night. I mean, they made 6 of them. But what's the balance between really attacking more to get to the line and just jacking up some shots? It
didn't happen for us last night. We are still in the top 5 in the country in free throw rate. And when you miss that, we didn't shoot a free throw in the first half, Alyssa. Not one. I mean, not one, Tara. And we were attacking. We just weren't drawing the contact enough to get it called. We made some adjustments, got it in there a few more times. But we have to get to the free throw line. If we don't get to the free throw line, that's half of our offense mentality of what we're emphasizing. Free throws, threes, and layups. And if you take one of those away, I guess that's 33%, sorry. 33% of our offensive attack is gone if we're not getting there. So continuing to do it, continuing to be aggressive. They do have a new, with Sierra Porter coming in, she changed a bunch of shots. But we'll continue to attack. But we've got to find a way to get to the foul line, whether that's being stronger, whether that's doing it more often. But as long as we're there at the end of the year in that area of the top 10 to 15 in the country over the course of the year, we'll have been okay with it. But it wasn't very good last night.
Coach, after good start to the year, you get the break. What was kind of the message for the girls to go into the grind of SEC play? We know how good this conference is. Anything different from last year? What was the message to the girls?
Just to make sure we're living in reality world. This is where we think we are. This is where everybody expects you to be. Let's make sure we're in line with those two things. Don't let one or the other get caught up in it. We don't always necessarily share what we're talking about in our locker room and our expectations and what we don't really set goals, but the standards which we're trying to play to. But it was just kind of a reset. Hey, here comes the league. Here's what our league has done. I put the RPI up on the board. I had to then explain to some of our players what the RPI was because they didn't know. But, at that point in time, I think today we're sitting at number 50 in the RPI, which for us is a good spot to be in. Knowing the calendar that we have up ahead of us, you have to look at some of those things. And I think you have to talk about them to your kids. If you don't, you lose sight of it too late. And then it's too late to do anything about it. So we preemptively talk about it. We set it out there. And in today's society, in today's world, I don't have to tell them much because they read social media probably too much. And, they know. And if I go in there and try to fool them or Jedi mind trick them into thinking something else, then I lose all credibility. So we try to keep it very real, a lot of self-awareness, and then go out and try to do something about it.
I was going to ask, most people talk about the SEC women, the league being strong and 4-5 in the top 25, but they're 5th or 6th in the country in RPI,
Sixth.
right?
Sixth. Yeah. No, I've not. I mean, you and I have talked about that all year long. There's no reason for us to go around tooting our horn this year that it's not the case right now. And it's okay. It's okay. I will say this. It is a hard league to play in. And having been in 4 of those 5, and counting now was the new Big East, that's the old A-10, coached in every one of those leagues except the ACC. They're all hard. And we all sit around and talk about ours being the best, a lot of times with no evidence whatsoever to support that. But it is hard. It is. Once you get into your league, it's incredibly hard, and it feels like that. It feels like it's the best league out there. I don't know that that's the case right now. I think we all want an opportunity to prove it. And I think when it comes SEC tournament time and at-large bid time, I do think we're going to have plenty of teams to represent us. I think we've got quality teams that can go deep. And I also think we've got some teams that a lot of people, because of their record, might not think they're very good. Good luck playing them. Good luck playing them. I think for us with bids, it's going to come down to how the middle of the league does against the middle of the league. Do we cannibalize ourselves? Do we all go 3-3 against each other? Or does somebody go 5-1 and separate themselves? And, Georgia played Mississippi State very tough last night, but still not finding a way to win that. Tennessee's lost 2 games in a row at home. Kentucky's looking extremely competitive. So I do think our league is good. I'm not going to be the guy that sits up here and tells you that it's the best, because that's really a hard thing to prove until it comes tournament time. I do think we've got teams that are capable of being in the Final Four. I think we've got teams that are capable of winning it all. And I think we have a chance to have the league that has close to or the most bids when it comes NCAA tournament time. It's going to be a tough year for the committee. There's going to be a lot of firsts, I think, in this year's NCAA tournament field. Records that have perennially gotten you in the tournament may not. X number of wins against the top 25 might not because of a bad loss. An RPI number. I do think we'll have a record low RPI team get a at-large bid. The RPI is really unique this year. You've got some teams that are ranked in the top 5 in America that are in the 120s or 130 range in the RPI. That would be a first if a team gets a 2 or 3 bid seed with a outside the top 80 or 85 RPI. But it could happen. So it's a unique year. We've got to continue to be one of those teams that, a lot of people are talking about us as on the bubble or first 4 out or a team to watch. I think we've earned that because we have shown that we can play with some of the top teams. I think we've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 NCAA tournament teams already. Iowa State's number 2 in the RPI this morning. Missouri, Mississippi State are in the top 25. Arizona State's in the top 25. So if those guys are truly top 25 teams, then we're not that far behind. Make a few shots, get 1 more rebound each. Could be interesting.
What you just said, then that makes every single SEC game every single night, ultra difficult, right?
It does. It does. It makes them all, and you're at Missouri, and they got 5,000 people cheering against you, and you're down 20, and you could have started playing for Sunday. And we were close a couple times, and I told them, y'all can ask the team when you talk to them, hey, we need to get this to this number, or we will start getting ready for Sunday. But we got it to 13, then we get it to 10, then you get it to those things. So that's that fight the kids had. But then they had the understanding too of once it gets to be 16 or 17 with 2 or 3 minutes to play, then let's start thinking about Sunday. So that's where I think it's good to have a team that has some self-awareness, that you can talk to about those things without diminishing their competitiveness or crushing their spirit or whatever you want to talk about in that way. But I do think you have to be honest with these kids. Otherwise, the credibility goes out the door. Their trust goes out the door. And then you can't tell them what they need to hear. All right.